What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Mr. Mustache MMA News. This Saturday, UFC 300, it's coming. So, guys, before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. Help the channel grow. Let's get right into it. Jim Miller, Bobby Green, kicking it off. We are here. Jim Miller, the only fighter in UFC history, UFC 100, UFC 200, and is now going to be appearing on UFC 300. Dude's made it. We're fucking here, boys. Taking on the super veteran Bobby Green in a fight that's kind of strange that they haven't fought already. I feel like if you would have told me that they even had a trilogy, I would have fucking believed you. Yeah, I totally remember that. So it's cool to see that you got two veterans, haven't fought before, showing up in a fight for the fans, right? You got Bobby Green coming off of his knockout loss to Jalen Turner in a fight where you saw Bobby Green really have a bit of a resurgence. You know, he was on a 2-fight win streak where he finished Tony Ferguson. He had that fight with Jared Gordon where he kind of, I think there's the headbutt and the eye pokes. There's a little bit of weirdness going on in that fight. But he's also coming off of that fight against Grant Dawson back in September where he took the O from Grant Dawson, knocking him out, 30 seconds into the very first round. Got that opportunity against Jalen Turner. I forgot who it was he was supposed to fight. I forgot who it was, but they pulled out. And then Jalen came in short notice and just put Bobby Green out, and he got knocked out bad. But coming here against Jim Miller, the ultimate veteran, has been in the UFC since I was a freshman in high school, 2008. And the ups and downs, started his career 9-1, ended up catching Lyme's disease, had some inconsistencies with his health and within the cage, and it showed, right? Was able to finally find his health again, and you started to see him kind of get back on this comeback. Starting off with Alex White, had the submission victory UFC 228, had the rematch with Charles Oliveira, where he got submitted in the rematch, making it 1-1. But then he started rattling off some really good victories over some solid prospects coming in, and even some other veterans like Jason Gonzalez, veteran Clay Guida. He lost to Scott Holtzman, guys where he kind of struggled physically against. Scott Holtzman, Vince Pichel, he lost those fights, but he really went out there and showed his elite veteran experience against guys like Roosevelt Roberts, Eric Gonzalez, Nicholas Mota, Cowboy. He was able to eat that head kick and then choke him out there. UFC 276, that was a phenomenal fight. Yeah, he lost to Alexander Hernandez where he just kind of got outpaced by the younger, more athletic, stronger, more explosive guy. But he was definitely having his moments in that fight, especially early on as well. But since then, ran off 2 straight victories over Jesse Butler, a 23-second knockout where he just put that boy's lights out. And then most recently back in January where he submitted Gabriel Benitez in the 3rd round where, again, he put on great pressure, grit, will, determination, and was able to find the finish late into the 3rd round. Jim Miller, man, I cannot fucking stand that DC is not calling him a Hall of Famer. It's not that Jim Miller has been a participant in the UFC for 15 years. At damn near times, he's been in the top 10. He has fought the best of the best. Now, in the last 6-7, I wouldn't say 6-7 years, but at least the last 4 or 5 years, has he fought elite level competition, top 5 guys? No. But he has been able to hold his position at that spot for enough. If this guy, example, if you guys are an NFL fan, for example, Charles Tillman for the Bears, 2-time Pro Bowler, wouldn't knock anybody's socks off, was not a defensive player of the year, didn't win any Super Bowls, but he was one of the most solid guys. The peanut punch, I think over 30 forced fumbles, about 30 interceptions for his career, only 2 Pro Bowl selections, but damn near should be a Hall of Famer. You know, you had Devin Hester, who didn't end up being an all-pro wide receiver, but he was the best at his position as a return man and got his recognition. But when it came to being a complete position player, Devin Hester was not. He was not the wide receiver that we thought he was going to be. He even started out as a cornerback in his rookie season and didn't really blossom into that as well. He was a return man, but he did his thing so well for so long, he earned his spot into the Hall of Fame, just like Jim Miller. And I think that his wins, his finishes, his experience, everything that he's done, he has already earned his spot, and especially with UFC 100, 200, 300. I think no matter what happens after UFC 300, Jim Miller is a UFC Hall of Famer, 100%. Daniel Cormier. Gets me a little upset. Sorry. But Jim Miller in this fight with Bobby Green, his path to victory in this fight, right? He's going to have to cut the cage off because he's going to have the boxing, the speed. He's going to have all those advantages to touch Jim Miller up. So Jim, what he's going to have to do in this fight, he's going to have to cut off the cage. He's going to have to really put the pressure on Bobby Green to kind of stifle the hands a little bit, get him thinking about the takedowns, use fighting against the cage, and use that pressure to get that grappling to break Bobby Green later on into the fight, rounds 2 and 3. Now, if Bobby wants to win this fight, he just has to just keep his distance, use his hands, use his boxing, and touch the chin of Jim Miller. And he should probably, if he is just able to keep Jim off of him, he should be able to find himself a knockout victory in this fight. Maybe even in the first, maybe even into the second round. But that's if he can keep Jim Miller off of him. And with Jim, with everything going on with him in this storyline, it's going to be hard for him to be undeniable in this matchup. I think Jim, if he could just be defensively sound on his way in to breaking that pressure, breaking that distance on Bobby Green, we could definitely see a hard, gritty victory for Jim Miller. But it's going to be a tough test against the fast hands of Bobby Green. I love this fight. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this matchup and who you guys think is going to get the victory. Is it going to be Jim Miller or is it going to be Bobby Green? Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Guys, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already to continue getting more MMA content by yours truly. Help the channel grow. That's going to do it for today, guys. Mr. Mustache MMA News out. Let's fucking go, fight fans.